Hi class, so we are talking about equations of proportional relationships again today. Our ICANN is for 4.2c. I can write equations from graphs. Pause this, write it down. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to answer this question. What can be used to help write an equation from a graph? All right, let's get to the meat of this. So in this problem, Peter is renting wave runners for a company party. Each wave runner holds 3 people. So I'm going to stop for that. So I have 1 wave runner to 3 people. Okay. Complete the table and graph to show this relationship. Well, here are my wave runners in my X spot. And here are my number of people in my Y spot. I know that I have 1 wave runner and it will equal 3 people. If I have 0 wave runners, 0 people can go on there. All right, but now let's think about this. Because this is all proportional relationships, what number times 1 will get me to 3? So if I go 1 times something will get me to 3, what will it be? It'll be 3. So I'm going to continue this pattern. 2 times 3 will get me to 6. 8 times 3 will get me to 24. They did skip, so you just can't go down by 3s every time. What about this 9 situation? It says I have 9 people. Well, how many wave runners? Well, if I have something on the left side, I times it. The opposite of timesing is divide. So I'm going to divide 9 by 3, and I'm going to get 3. So now, let's just graph this. If I have 0 here, if I have 1, I've got 3. You can see how graphing this is working. Okay, so now I've got all my dots there, plus a few more. And I'm putting my line in. It's a nice straight line. Okay. But what if I had W wave runners? What would I do to W? Well, I'd do the same thing, right? 3 times it by 3. Well, that equals 3W. Okay. Well, that's a lovely pattern. We've seen this pattern here. So finish filling out this table that I'm writing in right now. All right, so now let's write an equation where our number of people is actually now the letter P. So I'm going to change to blue so you can see that. So our number of people now are P, and we have this W down here. So the equation, what we do is we take what we get in our pattern, and I'm circling it, and I'm going to highlight it in red so you see it even more. And we set it equal to our P. So we found that the pattern is timesing our X value, and this our wave runner value, which is W, by 3 will give us how many people can go on it. And so that's all it's asking you to do. 3W equals P. Cool. So now our equation says, use your equation to determine the number of people that can ride if Peter rents 20 wave runners. So I'm using the equation. I have 3W equals P, and we know that instead of W, we're going to times by 20. Okay, so 3 times 20 gives me 60 people can ride. All right. Now let's look at this one. Bubba's Body Shop charges $25 per hour to fix a car. Complete the graph to represent this. Well, I see right here that says $25 per hour. So I know for 1 hour, it's going to cost me $25. If I have 0 hours, it costs me 0 money. If I do 2 hours, it does 50. What am I timesing by here? Well, let's look at this. 1 times something will get me to 25. Well, that something must be 25. Okay. Now go through and fill out both of these tables. All right, so you see that I filled out all the tables except for that very last row. So that very last row says, if I have T amount of time, how much is it going to cost me? Well, T times 25 gives me 25T. And so I have 25T here. Now, most of the time you won't have to label your X and Y axes, but if you ever have to do, just like in this situation, our X is always the first part of the table. So you see how I put an X above it? So that means time goes down here. And because we're talking about time is in hours, I'm labeling it hours. And I'm labeling each one, okay? Now that means the other side is cost. And that's our money. And I'm seeing that our money is going up by 25, so let's go up by 25s. 25, and you can see that I'm going to run out of room, right? Because it's hard for me to write that small. So I'm going to go 50 here, 100, 150. See, I'm skipping. Okay, so now I'm just going to plot this out. And I put in my line. Okay, so now let's answer some questions. Write an equation that holds it where the C, the cost, he charges. So I take the letter they give me and the letters they give me for down there, and I put it together. 25T equals C. Where do you see the unit rate in this equation? Well, my unit rate is this right here. My unit rate is this right here. So mark those on your paper. Use your equation to determine how much you would make for 12 hours. Oh, that's fun. Well, I have 25 times 12 equals $, write it in. So use your equation to determine how much he would have charged you, how many hours he worked if he charged you this. Well, it's 25T equals 175. So we're going to divide by 25, divide by 25, and you're going to get T equals 7 hours. Now, I want you to think long and hard about this one. How do you think equations are useful? How does it make it easier for you to do this? I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will see you in class. Bye, guys.